Time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back, and holy cow. So, guys, we're joined with So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey today, which we're so excited about. But we were just talking about this a second ago. The scandal of it all has taken over the entire Bravo world. Like, now, Ryan just made a good point. He's like, I said on my podcast, I have a few days left of this. And I'm like, no, I'm starting to feel the same. And of course, right when you think it's done, there's a new apology, a restraining order, a statement. I'm just like, this is okay. So now we're back to talk about some Real Housewives of New Jersey. But if you still want to get into the scandal of it all and be Team Ariana, you can go to upandadamlive.com because new merch dropped. And if you guys are a member, check out the community tab for members only, and you guys have a special discount. With that, let's get into Jersey and welcome So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. Hello.
The thing about Tom Sandoval on New Jersey is this.
It just, I mean, you know, let's throw Tom Sandoval to the Jersey Wolves.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, listen, I want Tom Sandoval to have to do a show walk of shame where he goes to every one of these franchises and they just make fun of him for a whole episode. No, but we were just talking about before we started, and I don't know if everybody in here feels like that, is that it's hard to watch these shows right now because so much is happening with this other show that we really love that you're trying to give your focus to this, and you keep, like, I kept relating it to something Sandoval related. I was like, you know what this reminds me of when Sandoval cheated on Ariana and is a horrible person. And, you know, last night's episode of Jersey, I thought there were so many great things about it, but I was trying to get into something that would get my attention away from that. Does that make sense?
You know, and I think it's interesting too to see, and we'll get into Jersey, of course, but it's interesting to see the just support for Ariana across like the United States, across like the Bravo universe. It's like, it's not like we haven't seen cheating before, but it's like, it just goes to show how many people love her that are supporting the hell out of her. And watching it, I feel like, of course, like working at TomTom and knowing a lot of the friends and stuff and being at Tom and Ariana's house before, I feel like it just feels like a little, like you said, it kind of hits like a little personal nerve. You've been to their house.
Oh yeah. I mean, everything to it. I think personal is such a great word, is because it is so personal, I think, for a lot of the viewers. But then, you know, we know them in a little bit of a different way too. And they're very similar in the sense that you really just, and especially with Ariana, she leads from her heart a lot of the times. Even going into that house, it's so personalized, the amount of work, that the detail that it was put into their house. And it just breaks your heart from thing to thing. But what a horrible way to find out that you are so loved, I keep thinking. What a horrible way for Ariana to find out that she is so loved in this community and from her friend group. And I just hope once the cameras go down, that kind of love is continuing to surround her, because I honestly don't know where Sandoval's head is at. Like, I mean, that just, it truly, I don't know about you. You've been around him probably way more at TomTom and stuff, but just, it just did shock me. It shocked me. It shocked me in a way that Jersey doesn't shock me, in terms of Joe and Teresa continuing to fight and stuff like that. Doesn't shock me anymore. This shocks me.
I think the narcissism behind some of the actions, that doesn't shock me necessarily, but I think this relationship specifically, like cheating on Ariana, that 100% does shock me. And, you know, like watching this all play out and knowing that they ended up filming the scene where him and Raquel kissed, and then he got pissed off and he's like, no, I don't want that. We have to refilm this. And producers are like, that's not how this works.
He knows how it works, and that's what. And I just think, from what a weird way to. This is what I was thinking about. I talked about this on the podcast today. Is that I said my one complaint about going into this season was that it's a 10th season, and I wanted them to lean in. And I think I might even mention this. I wanted them to lean into celebrating 10 years on this show, and now they've managed to do it, but in the worst way possible, because you have now celebrated what this show is known for, is people making horrific decisions, and that was fine in the first season because they were younger. This dude is making horrific decisions in the 10th season, and now he has unleashed an ancient evil. If Jax Taylor is coming back to this show or Watch What Happens Live tonight, he is unleashed. Like, imagine all the ghosts of Christmas past coming to you. You got Dodie, you got all these people to go like run rampant on Tom Sandoval. We are celebrating now the 10th anniversary of this show, but just in a way that I never thought.
And it's kind of interesting too, because when the show started, everybody, they were in their apartments and, you know, like they were just kind of starting out. And it's almost like we got back to that exact same place. And the only difference is like Sheena was married super early on to the end of the show. And like she's married again, except now we have babies, but we're kind of back to the same place. The only person who's really not is Sheena. So it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. But, you know, I mean, I get life moves on and these shows don't stop. That's for sure. And I think what's the only positive, I don't even know positive, but it's interesting to see when Bravo becomes more than just us, when it kind of goes out there more to the world. This becomes a national headline, which we see, you know, New York Times is writing about it. People are all of a sudden coming to Bravo again. And I think for the overall health of the network, that's exciting. But what a horrible way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of which, people, and I don't think that this is going to happen, but I saw on Twitter, people are like, oh my God, Lisa Vanderpump's coming to Watch What Happens Live. Do you think that she's going to announce that she could be going on Beverly Hills too? And I'm like, I really don't think that. I don't think that's what this is for.
No, in fact, Katie Maloney was supposed to be on tonight, Watch What Happens Live. They canceled her so Lisa Vanderpump could. It was her and another guest, and they canceled it so Lisa could come speak about this. But no, I mean, listen, if that were to happen, amazing. But in no way would that have happened in a last minute kind of way, you know?
Right. No, exactly. All right. So getting back into the Jersey of it all, Ryan, this episode, even though your head was a little bit in the Scandival, what are you going to rate it 1 to 10? And I want you guys in the live chat to also jump in on this.
I will say, I think I got to rate this a 7, and I would almost go to an 8 based purely on the newbies. Like the Danielle daughter birthday. I mean, and Rachel. I mean, like those to me.
They're so cute. They're so cute.
Those to me show you that there is a future in Jersey that is not tied in any way to Teresa and Joe's battle of the ages. You know what I'm saying? Like, this gives me hope for the future, because I think even the cast members up to this season, the lines are so clearly drawn in a lot of ways with Jennifer Aiden and all of the other ladies that this kind of it's like a breath of fresh air for me. I don't know how you feel.
Right. No, I absolutely. Actually, last night I was speaking to
everybody's
Jason
hitting it with 6, 6, 6, 6.
6, 6, 7.
But also, guys, I might be rating it a little higher because I was just happy to not be focusing on Vanderpump for a second.
Yes, this was literally as soon as Jersey came on last night. This was Ryan. He's like ready to dance to fire. Okay? So we're excited. But no, I agree with you, because I think Danielle and bringing in the newbies, I think it's smart that they brought in 2 significantly younger newbies. That way they could kind of work together and kind of lean on each other. Because when we brought Crystal Kung Minkoff to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, yes, she's married to an older man. And yes, she ran in those social circles, but they treat her like she's so young, and she just turned 40 and she is significantly younger than some of the other cast members. So for this, I like that they brought in 2. They're newbies, and then the 2 newbies also brought in a lot of personality and amazing family dynamics. This is the first time ever in the history of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, like you said, that I'm like, oh, wow, we could have a show without Teresa. Like, if Teresa decides to move to the West Coast and she's like, bye. It's like, okay.
Well, and I see somebody here said, well, I don't want to know about the lives of the new people yet or something. And I understand that sentiment, but for me, I usually feel the same way. But for me with Jersey, I'm usually the same exact way, but for some reason, I'm really enjoying it. And I think maybe that's because of my exhaustion of the Teresa, Joey Melissa storyline. I think maybe that's a reaction based on that. But for some reason, I really did enjoy learning. Like, for some reason, Danielle comes off so seamless on screen. and she's everything I love about Staten Island, everything I love about Jersey, kind of mixed into one person. The energy, her family, I already dig. I already dig her dad. I already dig her, like, her husband cracks me up he's so quiet, and the two kids. I don't know. I just really found it I find it very entertaining to watch. And I think the show realizes they've got a potential star as well, because that's why they're focusing on her so much.
I said this last night. I'm like, please, casting department at Bravo, whoever you are, we know that you watch. We know that you listen to the feedback. I hope you did your due diligence. I don't want to see anything come out when it comes to Danielle, because Danielle is a breakout star. She is not going anywhere.
Adam, you know what I thought too? Is that I thought a similar thing, but then I saw, like, their house is nice, but it's not insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Teresa Joe Giudice, like in the first couple seasons, where I was like, that's a really big house. That's a really, like, their house is nice, but it's not, oh my God, where is this guy making his money from nice?
Right.
And so that kind of comforts me. Like, who knows? Maybe, like, you know, I don't put anything past anybody anymore. I'm looking at you, Tom Sandoval, but you know.
I like that. I like the shade there. But no, I agree with you. She's definitely a breakout star, and being introduced to her family, you know, I'm okay when the kids don't want to be filmed. I actually sometimes, most of the time, I don't necessarily love having the kids on, and those moments I like to kind of see the wives. It's very rare that I enjoy like the family moments, but Jersey was really built on the family moments. So integrating new housewives who have those similar dynamics, and watching her with her cute little daughter as like a stage mom, and the little son kind of gets into it too. And the dad isn't afraid to put on pink and the little sweater and kind of dance to the Barbie stuff. It's just like, this is the cutest freaking family.
Wait, can we say for a Barbie party, that was the saddest excuse for a live action Barbie. The lady that was playing the Barbie had the worst blonde wig on, and I was like, this is Barbie? Are you kidding me? And I'm a dude, and I was like, that doesn't look a thing like Barbie. What are you talking? I thought Valentina would be like, that's not Barbie. What are you kidding me?
Well, if Tom Sandoval is still refusing to film and doesn't have a job, he loves to dress up in drag, and we could have like the mustache too, just like when he dressed up like Raquel, and we can throw a blonde wig and make him Barbie.
I love somebody said that Tom was dressing up in disguises to go on dates with Rachel, and I was like, oh my God, what is he dressing up like, a normal person? Because he already dresses in disguises every day with all of his get-ups anyways.
Yeah, but no, for real though too, it was funny. Jennifer Aydin's daughter walks in and she looks at Danielle and she's like, oh my gosh, a real life Barbie. Like, he's confusing Danielle for the Barbie. She's not the Barbie dressed up. It's the one who looks like we got her from Party City.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The one they hired as Barbie cracked me up. But like, I don't know. I love and Danielle was Barbie. So like, I think Danielle looks great all the time, but I'm talking about the Barbie they hired. Jen Aydin. And by the way, I even like Jen Aydin in the Barbie party. And I don't like Jen Aydin this season for some reason. There's such I love Olivia. But it's interesting to hear. It's good to get her in different scenes with the new ladies that are not just purely fighting, because I think it brings out something that I want to see more of with Jen Aydin, and not just being a Teresa foot soldier or her fight with Dolores. I'm glad to get her out of that stuff and like just have her mingle and talk and make friendships with other ladies.
You know what's interesting to me about Jennifer Aydin? I'm actually enjoying Jennifer Aydin because from what I'm looking, the lens, like I'm looking at her through a certain lens, and I'm totally dissecting this. Well, I don't even know, because half my brain is Scandival, half my brain is like dissecting the shit that's going on in New Jersey until tonight when we get Vanderpump Rules. Here we go again.
See, this is my I just woke up. My hair is, this part is Jersey. This part is crazy, and it's like Sandoval. This is like how my brain is right now. Yeah.
No, see, this is Jersey, and then Sandoval's like the crazy like mess that's underneath this. Okay? But no, I feel like watching Jennifer Aydin, we see someone who, she'll still go back to bat for her husband, but it was so smoke and mirrors before. She was sitting on something. She had something to hide. And she was portraying, again, we can bring in the scandal of it. Just like Lala Kent said to Nick Viall in her interview for the Viall Files, he said, who do you think doesn't share their life the most? And she said, I think Tom and Ariana tried to portray and protect this perfect image, and they don't necessarily want to share what's really going on when it gets not so cute. And I feel like Jennifer Aiden really tried her hardest to protect that and portray 16 bathrooms, you wish you were me, we have a jewelry store, perfect husband, doctor, kids. And then when all of this came out, she received so much shit, and it wasn't even her who had the infidelity. And she's looking at him. She signed a contract, so she still has to film, and he's all of a sudden, I gotta work, can't make the filming.
Well, I think Jennifer Aiden, I said this, I think last time I was on, is that Jennifer Aiden's anger stems from all of that stuff with her husband and all the stuff she was hiding. And I think that is kind of spilled out onto all of these other ladies. Like all of the anger that she couldn't give to her husband for all of these other reasons, you know, he's taking care of the family, blah, blah, blah. That kind of spilled out on all these other ladies. And I hope what we'll see as, you know, she's now telling the truth about that situation. I hope that she's able to, chill out a little bit in regards to some of these other ladies, because everything doesn't have to be a fight. Even though we love when Jen Aiden fights, I just thought the stuff when we started the beginning of the season with Dolores was a little misplaced.
Right. But then I also like that she's kind of, I agree with that. And I think she's trying to figure it out. But I like the fact that she's coming on camera, and many wives have before, and she's like, look, there's problems at home. I want to do this marriage counseling. But then now when Bill tries to say something, she's just found her voice. That support from like BravoCon and the fans, you can tell she knows she has a support system. And she's like, you, Bill, let me talk. I'm not done.
Even Olivia's like, fuck dad. Or sorry, F dad. Sorry.
She's like, screw you, dad. What do you know? And Jennifer Aiden's like, yeah, go get me a cocktail. Like you can tell she's just like, she has her power.
Okay, this is another thought, and it brings it back to Sandoval as well, is that I found myself watching every Bravo show in the last, like, since this broke. Like last night I was going, do I really think Jen Aiden and her husband are going to make it? Do I really think her husband isn't going to do something like this again? I like Bill, but by the way, I also like Tom Sandoval. I also liked, I like a lot of people that end up cheating on their spouses no matter what. Like, even if you think it's impossible, like, no, there's too much of a microscope, he's on a show, blah, blah, blah. I found myself thinking last night, I wonder if Jen and her husband are going to make it long term. Just like I was watching Summer House the night before, and I was like, I wonder if Kyle and Amanda are going to make it long term. This is why that Sandoval thing, I said, I wish they would stop every show on Bravo and just be like, hey, Housewives, everybody check their husband's phone tonight and go, hey, nothing personal. This is because of Sandoval. I just want to see your phone, and just go through it, because I just found myself thinking, is this going to last long term?
Right. I feel like, to be honest with you, and I could be wrong, but I feel like there are 3 relationships on this show that I absolutely do not question anymore. And I feel like, and one of them's so brand new that I'm surprised that I'm saying this, but it's Dolores and Pauly. I feel like that's going to last, especially with the way that he supports her. It's fine. It's like everything that she's wanted this entire time. I feel like Margaret and Joe, that's going to last. We know that. And then I feel like Melissa and Joe will last. Louis still in question, because everybody's still trying to find out something to make this guy the worst man in America. They're trying to make him Louis Sandoval. That's what they want. Except with hurting other women and, you know, finances and stuff, they're looking for something right now. And if there is something, they will find it, and it will come out.
Listen, I with the Louis thing, because this kind of dovetails into the scene with Teresa with the wedding dress and all of that stuff, is the Louis stuff is that you can already prove that he's hurt a bunch of women in his past. Let's just hope he doesn't hurt Teresa in the future. That's all we can hope, because everything that we've seen of Louis, he's been very supportive. He's been the Teresa whisperer. He's able to like help her work on her relationships and help her think about things. So on its face, he's done everything that you would hope a significant other would do for their partner. But we do know in his past that there's been a lot of legal things that there's, you know, you can't deny that. That's just black and white. That's not even an opinion. That's out there. But by the way, that Teresa wedding dress scene, it was beautiful in the sense of like putting that phrase on there, you know, in homage to her parents. And that was beautiful. But I got to tell you, the amount of, I was watching it without my glasses at first, and the amount of orange on those, on even Gia, just the orange skin. Like, I was like, what is going, I thought, yes, Like, what is like? Come on, Gia especially. Like, I'm used to Teresa. Like, but did Gia just get like right off the face of the sun? Like, that is wild to me.
I think
What is going on in Jersey? Why are they all that color? Like, Louis the same color.
I feel like Gia didn't become this color until Louis.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I don't remember Gia. I'm like, what is going on over there in Jersey? Do they have like their own tanning bed that's set to like a weird setting? Like, because it feels like the setting is completely off. And it like I watched the scene and it was a beautiful scene, but then I just kept checking out and I was like looking to see the other daughters to see how orange they were. But like, I almost just wanted somebody to say, we just got out of the tanning bed, so I could be like, okay, that must be really fresh.
No. This isn't a Lisa Barlow bad spray tan. I can tell you exactly what this is because when
Adam, I can tell you exactly what this is.
I can tell you exactly what this is because when I was in high school, in middle school, I was just like I was short and like a little hefty. And I was always like kind of, okay, if I have a tan, it made me feel better. So my parents would let me go tan and I would get Australian gold with the bronzer and I would put it on and I would come out looking like Gia. So I'm calling this Australian gold.
Sorry, guys.
We're like,
sorry, I moved wrong. Wait. Oh,
we're calling this Australian gold bronzer. That's where we're going with this. Honestly, that's what I really feel like that's what it is.
My camera got reset. One sec, guys. I'm going to a lesser.
We can see you.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah. They spray on Crayola burnt. Okay. Orange skin, spray tan. I don't think that's the only reason I would think that it would potentially be a spray tan is because Gia does a lot of promotions. She seems like she has really great skin, and tanning in beds destroys your skin. Really, it just destroys your skin. So I don't know.
That's why I don't do it, Adam. That's why I refuse to go into a tanning bed anymore. I don't want to destroy this beautiful, beautiful skin.
See, I'm pastier than you've ever seen me.
And you live in Florida, don't you?
Yeah, but I live inside of this house right now because of the scandal.
I have not seen the daylight. I mean, I see the daylight through windows and stuff like that, but it is morning, noon, and night. That's why I was so pissed last night. And you must have probably already been in bed at that point when Sandoval did the second apology last night. And then I wake up to do this, and I found out that Rachel did her apology for Entertainment Tonight, and I was like, dude, can we just get on a schedule? Can we all just do like a drop of information and just have that done for the day? Yesterday was too much, from the Lala Daryl stuff to the Sandoval kissing Rick. I mean, it was just too much on top of, and I was like, guys, get it together. Like,
can I think in some weird sicked up way, I have a feeling that she wanted to put out a statement after getting attacked by everybody. I don't think she thought it was going to go this way. And I think she wanted to put out a statement. And I bet you Tom said, no, I hurt Ariana. I was in the relationship. Let me put it out first. And then you put out your statement. And I'm wondering too, because people are asking, and I have no clue how this works. And I could ask Bryce Sander, but I doubt he would tell me if she sold that statement to Entertainment.
That's the thing. That's the thing when you give an exclusive, because people always does that usually with their exclusives. I would think she would have gotten a little money, but I also think whoever's advising her, I wish we would know if it was money or not, because if she didn't get any money for that, the optics on that are still really bad to release it straight to Entertainment Tonight. I think that's really bad, because if you release it to your Instagram, outlets are going to pick it up regardless. If you do it exclusively like that, then it does look like you got money. And this is not the time to be getting money from this situation, profiting off of this in any way.
Right. Trudy Ann Barker, these are going to come in. So if Raquel gets a restraining order, she can't film right. Wrong. She can still, just like Ryan said, she could zoom in. They would not let her out of it. There's no way, because when they pay you, I'm pretty sure it works the same for Vanderpump Rules. And I'm pretty sure that Raquel is a day rate. So there's salary and there's day rate. And then when you get paid day rate, it's X amount for how, like if you film Monday, Tuesday, you only get paid for those 2 days, right? And I feel
by the way, I wanted the day rate too. I want to point out that some cast members that you think are series regulars get paid by a day rate.
Yeah, which is, and I know
is insane.
We know exactly who they are, but doesn't that blow your mind?
It blows my mind. And the first time I heard this a couple years ago, I was like, no way, because it's not advertised. And also those people then have more of a thing of like, well, I want to film as much as possible. But it's wild who you would think there would be some kind of like, oh, well, no, that person's a series regular for sure. And it turns out they're not. And that always shocks me because, remember, these shows are on a budget and they're not looking to, like Beverly Hills breaks the bank, but other shows, they're not looking to break the bank in, and they will pay you very minimally because they think, they'll let these cast members know, well, you'll make it up in your social media,
Yeah. Guys, read the freaking contract. First season, if you're a newbie on the first season of Vanderpump Rules, you're getting paid less than $5,000 for the entire season, which is ridiculous. But no, even for the whole restraining order of it all, whatever, when they pay you, from my understanding, and I believe this applies to Vanderpump Rules, they pay you half up front for the season of what they're going to pay you, unless you're a day rate. And then they pay you the other half after you wrap in the reunion and all of that. That's why they were still waiting for the whole Jen Shaw of it all to figure out, is she going to do the one-on-one? What's going to happen? And they wouldn't release her funds until she went to prison. So, I mean, it plays all in. But let's get back to Jersey for a second, because I wanted to ask you a question. Oh, wait, do you have something?
No. Somebody had asked earlier in the chat. It was just that, do you think Jax really is coming back? I do think Jax will be on Watch What Happens Live tonight. I do think that is true. I think he's going to be one of the I think it's going to be one of the virtual audience questions. I believe that to be true, so I don't think he's making that up. I don't know if he'll come back on the show. I think Brittany has maybe filmed, but I don't know. What do you think? You probably have heard more specific about this, but I do think Jax will be on Watch What Happens Live tonight, but not as a main guest.
Yeah, I can see definitely Jax. If he said he's going to be on Watch What Happens Live and he doesn't, that's probably the dumbest thing you could do, because then it just...
Yeah, could you imagine having the Bravo fandom go, what a loser, you liar, you lied about this too?
It's almost like, guys, it's like one of those things when Jax and Brittany were teasing for like the last 2 years, we have filming projects in the works, and you're like, okay, so what are they? And then we're hearing like we're taking HGTV Kentucky, doing like farm homes together, and then you hear it and you're like, okay, there's nothing. So it almost sounds like you're selling us like empty goods, right? And then you have like pan over to what's going on with the season. Or the show for the future. I don't know if they would bring Kristen Doty and Jax and all of them back. I don't know if they look at it like, I think it depends on the fan feedback, because there will still be negative feedback based off of why they were taken out in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's what I said on the show. I said, I believe Doty will come back for this episode that they're filming right now. But remember, Kristen Doty was fired for a reason. And I was like, okay, so all of a sudden Bravo is backing down on it was very gray for me of like, well, this is like, of course, as a fan, I want to see this. Also, I also am like, as long as Ariana's okay with it. But I just think, at the end of the day, Ariana's going to have some mental cleanup to do for all of Tom's mistakes. And this is going to be really sad after the cameras go down for her. And I don't think a lot of people are realizing that. So everybody getting their 15 minutes from this is cool. And I think, I'll be excited to see Doty. I just hope Ariana's truly okay with that. Jax also, though, everybody better... And DJ James Kennedy as well. Everybody better be careful about tap dancing their celebration over Sandoval's grave, because nobody has the moral high ground here. All of these people are bad people in their own right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like Jax is a bastion of like things to look up to in terms of how you handle relationships. Neither is DJ James Kennedy. So them like coming together for this is cool and it's fun and in the moment, but you have to realize that like, them talking bad about Sandoval is like fine, but like you guys have been just as bad on this show repeatedly. So to me, it's like fun, but it's not,
It reminds me of like when Erica sat at the reunion after the first season that all of the Girardi stuff broke, and she looked at all of the women and she's like, one of you guys are going to be in this seat next time, and I will remember this. You know what I mean? It's like, you'll have your turn. Oh, just wait.
Yeah, that does show us everything, and it's always the guys. Like, it's always these guys making the worst decisions ever, and it feels like you can bank on that. I mean, even Erica Jane, who I think is evil in a lot of other ways, Tom Girardi is the one that that started that. It's always the men.
It's always the fucking Toms.
Shout out to Tom, buddy. Shout out to Tom.
Hey, Mr. Girardi. Okay. All right. No, and you know what, real quick, before we get back into the Jersey, and I want to talk about Margaret Josephs and Jennifer Aiden, but I did want to say too, I really hope for Ariana, because don't want to see her lose her house. I wish that they just go ahead and give her a bonus for next season. Let her buy Sandoval out of his part of the house because he needs the money for Schwartz and Sandy's anyways, because they've spent so much money. Let her buy him out and then maybe move in like a roommate or two, help pay the mortgage. Let's offset it. Like,
that's
really
interesting. The thing I keep thinking about though is, do you really want to keep the house that your significant other of 9 years cheated on you in? Like,
100%.
do you really want to?
It would be a victory.
That's the thing I keep thinking about. But yeah, it's like so detailed. That dude spent so much money on that house in terms of like, even the back fire pit. He was like showing me where they had like broken the gas line, and he paid all this stuff to come in and like make sure it could light from. But like the details in that house are like the wallpaper. It's all so specified to both of their tastes. It would be hard to even sell it at a price that would get a fraction, I mean, the money back for all the money they put into it.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. No, I get it. Sage the house and live in it. Yes, Norma. Okay. Didn't James bring Raquel onto the show? Yes. Okay. Let's get into the Margaret Josephs of it all. I just want to ask you a question. So last night we see Margaret Josephs and Jennifer Aydin going back and forth.
What a hat though. That hat distracted the hell out of me last night.
Listen, this poor woman, she can't even get dressed. Like, everybody's harping on the hat. You know what? Nobody harped on these two when they were wearing the hat. So let's leave Margaret and her hat alone. No, but this whole thing is just crazy because it's funny to see the younger generation, the newbies, watching these two. And they're older than the newbies, except for Jen Fessler. I'm sure she's around the same age. And these two younger ones are like watching back and forth, and they're like, this is crazy to me. Like, what the hell is going on? And Margaret Josephs is like, you'll never know what it's like to have a family. And I'm like, oh, that cut. Because when she left her husband, her ex-husband, who just recently passed away, her kids decided not to speak with her. So you're striking a chord. And then Margaret knows how to strike a chord back because she's good at this game. And she's like, well, at least I have a happy marriage. And I'm like, oh, you two are ruthless. Like, we're never going to get anywhere good here. It just made me want this scene back. I'm like, just give
know
it back.
They really are ruthless. And it's one of those things. I mean, Marge comes from a place of strength in the fact that I don't think she's ever going to have current relationship issues on that show. Like, you're never going to hear potentially of Margaret straying from her relationship at this point. Right. Could be completely wrong. But like, that's why the Jen Bill relationship is such a chink in Jen's armor. I think she can get great strength from it in the long run, but it's one of those things that can get thrown in her face time and time and time again. But at the same time, like, I don't know, Marge, she's weirdly untouchable in that sense. Like, there's not something like, there's not a Louis situation. There's not a Bill Aydin situation. Heidi says Jen Fessler will not last. I think she'll last just in the fact that we keep saying, every time we mention Jen Fessler, we say her first and last name. So in that sense, she has more name recognition than anybody in that cast in terms of newbies. I don't know Danielle's last name yet. Oh, Cabral. No, I do know. Have you
ever thought about this? Like, Jersey, I feel like, is the only place where we have a Gia, a Joe, a Jen, a Jen. It's like, do we have like 15 names to choose from in Jersey? Is there like 15 boy names, 15 girl names, and then we just have to make sure that all of them end with like, usually it was a vowel. That was the Italian Jersey Shore thing, but Jen, A-E-I-O-U, that is not a vowel. Sorry.
Wait, what? But I mean, I like watching Jen, and I like when Margaret fights with people. I for some reason, and this is just my personal taste, I like it more than when I see Jen Aydin go, because Jen Aydin, for me, there's something innately sad about Jen Aydin. Like, I feel like she's deeply sad inside, so sometimes it makes me sad when she lashes out. But Margaret, to me, I feel like she's, like, when she goes in, I don't think it comes from a place of sadness. I think it comes in from just her wanting to go in on somebody and to fight. And I think there's that's the difference for Jen Aydin. For me personally, I sense a lot of sadness when she lashes out at people, because I think she's, like, even in that moment, talking about the noses, it's like, oh man, because she knows her nose has been made fun of so much.
Right. So she probably feels like, listen, she's like, I can call out cheating stuff because you guys called out my cheating stuff. I can call out your nose job because you guys called out my nose job. Like, it's almost like everything that she feels like she received, it doesn't matter if you were part of the issue and one of the people who was doing it to her. I feel like she's just like, oh no, you guys felt like that was off limits. I'm gonna come for you this season. And I feel like she's coming from a real place of hurt. Like genuinely, this woman is just like hurting. And this is a very easy outlet to be able to kind of put that out there because she gets to scream, she gets to yell, she gets to fight, and she gets a fat paycheck for it. Like,
yeah. Well, what somebody said, I don't like the fact that Margaret called Jen Aiden a drug addict for cannabis. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
yeah.
I mean, that's grasping at straws. Like there's no, I mean, come on. That is the weakest part of any of that
Is that
argument.
clickbait?
Like that's so weak.
Is that verbal clickbait?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's like it's one of the no, it is 100% because that can get picked up and thrown around, and all of a sudden you've introduced drug addict to the conversation when marijuana just doesn't. I mean, marijuana to me is like less than alcohol in a lot of ways. So that is tired, and I think that is beneath her, and she didn't need that. She has enough to stand on. Also, I was reading in the comments too, is that it is funny with these characters, and I find myself the same way. Is that people are like, I hate Margaret. Like it's like very cut and dry for people. I hate Margaret or I hate that. And I think that's the interesting part of all these shows is that really people are just on both sides of the fence on these things. And I think that's why it keeps going is that you can say, I hate Margaret or I hate Jen. And it's pretty absolute.
Selena Goring said Bill probably stays because of how much he'd have to pay if they divorce.
1,000%. I mean, I do kind of agree with that in a sense. Like he gets to go to work all day, I'm sure he loves all of his kids and stuff like that. And I'm sure he loves Jen, but at a certain point too, that would be a huge, he likes his lifestyle. But you could tell even when he went to dinner with her, was it last episode or the episode before? He just looks tired. He's like, okay, yes. Like she's starting to get amped up and he's like, maybe you could understand the other side. And she's like, no. I mean, Bill seems exhausted sometimes in dealing with Jen.
Right. No, I agree with that. But also think about the payday, the alimony, the child support of it all. Think about like, she wouldn't have to move out of that house. He would have to move out of that house. Like he would be paying her.
Oh, Olivia has been accustomed to a lifestyle that Olivia will not be. She will not be shopping at Target. No, she will be continuing to shop at Nordstrom's.
Goodwill. Target is Goodwill to Olivia. And listen, I'm not above Goodwill, right?
Olivia at that Barbie party was so. I love Olivia's adult, and if you saw in the background at a certain point, Olivia was on her phone, and I was just like, who is she texting? Who is she? What is she on her phone doing? Like, what does Olivia do on her iPhone? Like that was like the thought while Jen Aiden was talking,
Well, and last night too, Jennifer Aiden tweeted out, she's like, that was the first time I've ever heard my daughter say that she wanted to be a therapist to help people who are in love kind of stay in love. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. I'm sure I'm curious what went through Jen's mind, because that's obviously something that her daughter, it was probably the affair that initiated that. You know what I mean? Just like, I doubt that without Gia's dad being deported, that she would have wanted to go into becoming a lawyer and help people.
Yeah, in immigration. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, Olivia, if she really does want to do that, she's got a great test case right in that house that she can. And I love that. I think that's a positive way to spin the pain that sometimes children go through with having to watch whatever their parents are going through,
What were your thoughts? Yeah, absolutely. What were your thoughts this is what made me think of it. We see Jennifer Aiden and Melissa finally after 5 years have a sit down together. But when I was thinking about Melissa, we see her having the conversation with Antonia about, hey, listen.
Zia Teresa.
Like, you'll see stuff on social media. And I'm thinking in my head, these kids grew up on this show. Like once they got phones, because they were little, since they've had phones, they've seen this on social media. They don't know a world of social media without seeing their families, garbage all over the place, because that's all they've ever been around. So I thought it was interesting that Antonio was like, us as cousins, we're mature enough to, we don't talk about you guys. We don't care what you guys do. And I was like, that's awesome, because then at least once all of you guys turn 18 and you're out of the house and you want to have your own relationships, you move in, you have different boyfriends, girlfriends, you get your own houses, places, then you guys will still continue on and be a family. And maybe it's kind of sad, but maybe the younger generation will set a better example for the older generation on how to navigate that.
I was very comforted to hear that the cousins, they all don't talk about this stuff as well. But I did keep thinking, though, is that, okay, but when Melissa and Joey's children do watch the show, they're going to see last night's episode where Teresa's kids are railing on Melissa and Joey. And that's where I think it's dangerous to use your kids in scenes badmouth. Like, it's one thing for Teresa and the parents to badmouth each other, but then when you throw those kids in there, don't you think Antonia will watch that and be like, why are they talking shit about my mom and dad? Like,
yeah,
they always like keep it kosher. Why are they all of a sudden talking really mean stuff? And that's, I think, the danger of bringing your kids in to help fight a battle that should just be fought by you. Even if the kids do feel that way, and I'm sure they do, there is something that puts them in a bad position, I would imagine, with other family members outside of that household.
I feel like when we were going through the moment of the really awful orange tan and the beautiful saying on the flower or on the veil, and then all of a sudden we get Melania go all Jake Paul and shit, like, Joe don't show up.
She's like, it's done. It's done after that. It is done. And we all know what this is leading up to. We do know they don't go to that wedding. So it's one of those weird things of like, it's one of those moments like we will have on Vanderpump Rules tonight when we see Sandoval still with Ariana. We know how this ends. We already know how this ends. We already know the insanity that is going to come in Jersey. So it's interesting to watch from our perspective of knowing how this ends and then watching that scene last night. It gives it even more kind of intensity. Even the Antonia scene, it gives it more intensity. So I that kind of part sometimes makes me sad because you're just like, oh damn, it's gonna get pretty bad here. If this is where they're at now, if this, in that wedding dress scene, if this is where they're at now, imagine where it's going to be. Imagine the night before the wedding with cameras up.
Yeah. I mean, this is. Wow, what a show. I had a really important question for you.
I'm a Taurus. Thank you.
Oh, shit. Then we move on. Okay. All right, so moving on. No. Have you ever gone to Starbucks and given the wrong name?
Yeah, I have actually, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The other day, I was on the phone. It was funny because I just moved and my Starbucks is under construction. And I was on the phone and Jason was like, I have to go to Target to go to Starbucks right now. So I'm on the phone talking to Jason. Jason's like, can you get this, this, and this? And I said, I told you I have to be back and film this thing in like 10 minutes. He's like, just do it. Like it'll take 2 seconds. And I'm like, okay, don't be an asshole. I'll do it. And then she was like, who? She's like, what's the name on the cup? I was like, yeah, don't be an asshole. And then she laughed and I said, Adam. And she wrote Adam and then put asshole under it. And I was like, and then she wrote Jason and put asshole under it. And I'm like, you're a ballsy barista to do that. I'll post a photo, I swear.
Yeah, by the way, I was like, you should post a photo and tag corporate Starbucks and go, this will not stand.
I was about to say, because this is very real and I'm not making it up and I have the photo. I have the receipts. Okay. So also, what were your thoughts on Danielle? Because Danielle right now, we see her, from what I hear, again, loving her. She's a breakout star. From what I heard, she doesn't necessarily live as close as all of the other women.
Yeah.
Kim D came on my channel, Kim D.
Oh, God.
And she said something to the effect of, like they brought her on so she could really be in Teresa's corner. And that was the whole purpose of bringing her on, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, maybe that is why they brought her on. I'm not sure. And then I thought about it and she's talking and she's relating to Melissa and Teresa over the situation with her brother. And I'm like, well, that's interesting because now she has a situation with her brother, which could set us up for some longevity for Danielle. Because if her brother and her brother's new wife, if they're good looking, and they have it and they have what it takes to be on the Housewives, then boom, we have a new modern day Teresa and Joe all over again. But she's selling it to us that her brother thought that she was just annoying on social media. So then he blocked her and then she was taken out of the wedding. And nobody.
Her brother should see some other Bravo celebrities on social media. I think he might change his mind about his sister. I mean, if annoying is the thing, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm exactly. I think I truly believe in my heart that production sees Danielle as 2 seasons from now as one of, if not the lead of this show. I truly, truly, in my heart, believe that there is something more afoot than just somebody to come on and agree with Teresa. That's why I believe she is being put in scenes with everyone. I do believe she is, and I think that is a really interesting play by production. And it kind of makes me think, great, that they have the future, because my thought is like, could this show ever survive without Teresa? Because this is Teresa's show. Like even in that lunch scene at the very end, Teresa was the one that comes in the last. And you got to remember, with those entrances and exits, that's done purely by production. Production tells you what time you're there. So they schedule Teresa as last because she is Queen Bee. And I've always thought that this show could not really survive without Teresa at all. And I'm probably right. But at the same time, when you see somebody like Danielle that seems to really, for the most part, people seem to really, really want to see more of and enjoying so far, it kind of, that thought keeps popping up in the back of my head of like, she could really, I want to see her in a fight. And then I think that would, but it's kind of interesting to think that it could survive past Teresa.
Yeah. No, I agree.
By the way, if Teresa wants to leave, Teresa will never be asked to leave, but if Teresa wants to leave ever.
Do you think with Rachel Fuda, we have her on the show and, like we have her husband, we're getting to know him, and it's not that I'm not sold on her husband. I just think it's like,
it's the weird, creepy beard. I'm not sold on that beard. What is going on with that beard?
It's just the husband of it all. What gets me is like, he's like a standard Jersey husband of like really not kind of getting involved until they form the wolf pack to begin with. Like a Joe Giudice, like, I don't really want to be here. What am I doing? It's like, but I'll get in it. He doesn't like Danielle's husband. I feel like a lot of people fell in love with, and Rachel's people are on the fence with, but watching her whole family dynamic and her Nona come in, and her Nona's like, what the, I'm like, oh
yeah,
I'm into it.
Yeah. Exactly. Like you said earlier with the Danielle stuff, if you think Salt Lake has a foundation of religion, Beverly Hills has a foundation of like movie stars and wealth and glamour, I think Jersey has a foundation of family. And that's why the more we can meet these people's families and they have interesting family dynamics, that's better for Jersey. I think that's so unique to Jersey that I love that. Like some people are like, I don't want to meet the new families yet earlier in this chat, but which, by the way, smash that like button, you guys.
Smash it.
But I like meeting the new people in Jersey, and I usually get annoyed in other franchises meeting the new families. But for some reason, I think casting did really great jobs with Rachel and Danielle so far.
Maya said, as soon as Teresa left, the scene ends. That's true, and it did. And I was kind of shocked that Jen Fessler was like, Jennifer Aiden, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. And I'm like, why are you asking her to leave? Let him finish hashing it out.
Yeah, the producers are like, no, Jen Fessler, no, take that back, no.
Teresa, they're like, for Teresa, hey, listen, we know that this shit's going to hit the fan. We know that you're really busy. You're like, obviously, we put the whole show around you. We're going to have you show up for like, are you good for a good 30, 45 minutes? Sit down, something's going to happen, and then we'll let you go. And it's like, exactly. What?
Yeah.
And then Shay B said, did you meet any newbies from Jersey at BravoCon? I did not. I don't know if they were there. I don't think I even knew about them at Bravo. Well, yes, I did.
I mean,
yes,
like,
I did,
well, like I mean, I met like all the rat. Like I had a drink with Polly, like right now, like and Margaret, Danielle, Dolores, Joey, Melissa, Teresa, Louie. No, sorry, Danielle. Sorry, I meant Jackie. Yeah. Sorry, Jackie Goldschneider.
Was that the DirecTV event?
Some of them were, but they were all, I was at the Gansevoort. That's where they were all staying. So in the lobby bar, which by the way, remember we were at the top of the bar all those nights? In the lobby bar, all the Jersey people were meeting up in that Jersey bar. Like Paulie had two of his friends there who, and they were all meeting there. Evan was down there drinking. I mean, it was really a scene, but it was heavily Jersey. Frank Catania was going in and out. Like it was crazy, but I didn't see the newbies, or I didn't know they were the newbies, at the time. Yeah. So if they were there.
It's so interesting too. how the hell you got a spot at the Gansevoort during BravoCon is like beyond to me.
It was purely luck. It was purely there was a cancellation at the last minute, and it was purely luck. But I paid more for that than I paid for probably anything in my life. But it was worth it. I mean, it was worth it in the long term. But like all the money I had made from DirecTV went into that hotel.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah. Listen, that makes sense. Yeah. But you were right in the thick of it. So much so where didn't Emily even say like, go drop your bags and come back down or something, or come back up?
Yeah, Emily was. Yeah, and Emily, I was there that night, with the Friday night party, when she was the one that grabbed me and made me go watch Jen Shaw dance, because she was like, "You're not gonna believe what's going on over here," and I was just like, "What a crazy life we're living!" Like, and I was watching Shep walk around and try to hit on any girl that moved. Like it was wild. You had Tamra and Freddie Mellencamp trying to like get information from everybody there. Andy was there. It was hysterical. There was so much going on that it was like this. It was too much. It was like visual cornucopia on top of just watching. The Jen Shaw stuff took the cake, though. I was like, the way she was dancing, I was like, this lady doesn't have a care in the world. Like, I would not have ever thought that anything bad was happening in her life.
Yeah, I definitely probably.
Oh, Lauren, I do know the answer to this.
What?
From somebody in the cast. Do you think they're going to go back and re-edit all the episodes and maybe show them? I initially thought that, Lauren, but I was told from a cast member that they are not going to have to re-edit. I don't know what that means. So what I took that to mean potentially is that you're going to already see Tom be weird in a couple of scenes, which I would imagine would be that moment in the trailer where Tom says, or where Sheena goes, "Are you guys in an open relationship?" I think Tom might exhibit some bad behavior, nothing that would be proven, and not that they fully knew any of this was going down. But I have a feeling that you might see Tom there might be some weird moments between Ariana and Tom in this season, but nothing that would go, oh, he's definitely hooking up with Raquel. So I was told they're not going to re-edit, but I thought initially that they would definitely re-edit certain things. But who knows? Also, watch those never before seen guys on tonight. They're going to air a never before seen episode of last week's episode where they add like 3 minutes of new scenes. They've done it each week. They used to do it for Beverly Hills as well. Watch those episodes, because last week was when they put Schwartz's current semi-girlfriend Joe in there. So there's always great information that they're dropping in those, and it's worth DVRing and just fast forwarding and looking for those new scenes.
Wow. Okay. Well, and Jason said that because you know how like on Instagram you always see like the first 7 minutes pop up all over the place.
Yeah.
And Jason, and I haven't watched it, but Jason said he watched the first 7 minutes and it's with Tom, or it's with Ariana and Raquel like shopping or something.
Oh,
and
God.
He's like,
No.
And Jason said in the first 7 minutes, it's those two shopping, and even the way that Raquel is like looking at Ariana. And I'm like, I don't know if you're being extra when you're saying that, or if you're like legit, this is some cringy shit. Because I'm curious. Now I'm going to be watching it tonight, and I'm going to be watching the episode being like, get me to Lisa. Get me to Lisa Vanderpump right now. But yeah.
It's why, I mean, this is a sad Super Bowl tonight, because we're going to be, there's so much discussion happening about this topic right now that everybody is going to be, I can't wait to see the ratings for this week. Not even just for tonight, but like added in like 3-day and 7-day ratings.
Yeah. People don't press charges in Jersey.
That's very only the government can press charges against people in Jersey.
Oof. Okay. Well, guys, on that note, it is still so early over there in LA for Ryan. So Ryan, thank you so much for joining us this.
Yeah, sorry guys. You can like my HD camera, like I'm exhausted. This, like, I've aged 10 years this week. So my God, my goodness. I mean, Adam's on the front lines. I'm on the middle line. Like, we're all like working our butts off, which is like purely our choice. But it's just intense, because to me, this is so sad at the end of the day. And I'm trying to find ways to make this funny. But it is, it's wild to believe that this is real life. And this is I mean, this is when reality shows really show their colors of like, this is why it's so fascinating, is because it really highlights people's horrible behavior, and it seems like they never learn from it. And that is interesting when life gives you so many examples of behavior not to do, and then they keep doing it. And it's tragedy. It's Shakespearean.
Satire.
Thank you, fan of everything. My mom's in the chat. She says Ryan has a lovely face. Thank you, Mom. Mom, is this you?
Hi, Mom. All right. All right.
Guys, real quick. You're probably going to say this already, but I have a YouTube channel, So Bad It's Good with Ryan
Oh, my
Bailey.
God. Of course I was going to say that.
No. I'm just like, well, like I interviewed Andrea Denver from Summer House. He was a delight. We have Vanderpump Rules recaps over there, and the podcast So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey each day this week. I had Sheena on for an hour last week, right when she was headed off to watch What Happens Live, and we were talking about defending Raquel and all of. I mean, it has been a wild week and a half for this podcast. Which, by the way, I love the Up and Adam the podcast rebrand that you did. Anyway,
thank you.
We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But it's been a really interesting week on the podcast. I did emergency episodes. I've done 45 minutes of everything that's happened in the last 24 hours, the last 3 days. So I'll keep doing that, and I'm sure Adam's going to do that as well on here and his pod. So if you're looking for things to listen that are going to keep talking about this situation at this point, check it out if you haven't already.
Yes, definitely. And you guys can go in the description of this video. Get subscribed. Go to So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey on YouTube. Get subscribed and watch his Instagram because it's funny as hell, even sometimes when you don't want to think something's funny. But sorry, guys. Okay. Ryan, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You guys have the best. You have the best fans, dude. Bye, guys.
Bye. You're not fans. You guys are family. This is the Addams family, guys. Thank you so much for an amazing Real Housewives of New Jersey recap. As you can see in the banner below, we did drop new Scandival merch today. So go over to upandadamlive.com. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Support Team Ariana. And then on top of that, go vote in the community polls. Our sister channel, our messy little crazy ass sister channel called Up and Adam 2. She's there. We almost are at 15,000 subscribers, I believe. So check her out. And then if you haven't been following us on Instagram, Twitter, and now TikTok, we're posting a lot. We're getting reposted a lot. We're posting a lot, and it's getting wild. Yesterday, we did a poll for Ariana and Tom, and I think we had over 30,000 votes in like 2 hours on Instagram stories. It's crazy. So we'll keep you posted. Love you guys. Smash the like button, and thank you to everyone in the live chat. And, of course, Ryan Bailey. Bye.